Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, I'm ScrapMan, bringing you another episode of Scrap Mechanic, and I got another challenge idea. Something that could potentially become a series of challenges, depending on how well this does, but I have a proof of concept right here, and I'm going to show you what the idea is, and then we're going to try to build maybe a couple of easy levels that are going to ramp up in difficulty as we go farther on, and this could be a potentially endless series of things, depending on how complex and difficult we want to take it. But the idea is kind of like a ball balancing in between rails, and then you've got to press just two controls, left and right, to tilt the rail left and right and make the ball roll down the guides and eventually into a socket that will then complete the challenge. So let me show you an example here. This is my proof of concept right here. So I got to go start the challenge with this switch. But once the challenge starts, we can go ahead and spawn this ball in here. So basically, as you can see here, the ball is setting on this track, and I just have the basic controls set up on these buttons. And you can see if we tilt it to the right, the ball rolls to the right. If we tilt it back, the ball rolls back. And that is that's the basic gist of it. And my idea is to create bigger and more elaborate tracks that have like turns and angles and stuff, and even like they could go all the way around 360, so you have to keep turning it and getting the ball to roll down the track, but not too fast. And then eventually somewhere you're gonna have, whoops, I fell off. I forgot I was in floaty mode. And then eventually you're gonna have to find its way to a ball socket and hopefully not fall off. So I figured, kind of similar to how we started with the mini golf series, why don't we start off super basic, just as like an example of just point A to point B, get you the gist of what the goal is, and then we will take it up from there in complexity. Let's start off with a relatively basic straight line first, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. Electric engines. Actually, we're gonna have to do some weights on this thing, because holy cow, this is heavy. Okay, so in building this, I've unfortunately discovered that the electric engine method is just not gonna do, because this is almost as simple as I can get it to counterweight the weight of this. This isn't even including the ball on here. And this is what electric engines are capable of doing. I'm pressing the left one right now. You can see it's hardly moving to the left. Then I press the right one. Goes a little bit easier because apparently that's even heavier for some reason than that big chunk of metal. And these are up pretty high too. So I'm thinking what's gonna need to happen is we're gonna have to use thruster power. And that's gonna make things really interesting, but it should work nonetheless. So the really, really tough part now is going to be weight management. Because basically I'm gonna make these free-floating bearings. And actually, that's not doing too bad right now. We can use a controller as a reset. There we are. Perfect. So now when we disconnect it, and I think just by adding a block or two, like taking it on and off, we can see what the weight is going towards. All right, so now what I'm going to do is add a ball spawner over here. And apparently we need a little bit more weight. All right, I think we're pretty even now. So now it's just a matter of adding thrust to both sides, and how much thrust are we going to need to make a noticeable difference? I'm going to do 4 thrusters on each side. Okay, this actually works really well. All right, well, thrusters it is. It is a weird, like, hitch, though, switching back and forth. Oh, well, so then this should be hooked up to that button. That button is also hooked up to the challenge start. So now we can start the challenge. Here, let's reset this. There we go. We can start the challenge as we spawn the ball, and let's hope that this concept actually works. Okay, so here we go. Number 1 should start the challenge. That's not the way it should start. All right, stop test. There we go. All right, so now we should just be able to go 2 to the left, 3 to the right. So let's just test out how well this feels going back and forth. Oh yeah, look at that. This actually feels pretty good. If anything, I could probably... Whoa! And it's in. All right, and you can see that that actually completes the challenge for us. Now, the way I've done that is inspired by previous challenges that I've experienced from the workshop, where this is on a piston, and that socket activates the piston and the end zone, so it pushes it up to where you are, so you don't have to like get out of your seat and walk into an end zone or anything. So it's kind of like an automatic challenge completion mechanism. Okay, so I think we have challenge 1 complete here. As basic as you can get, just tilt it to the right and the ball goes in. So let's paint this thing up and make it look a little bit better. And then get on to the next stage, which is going to add a layer of difficulty. Okay, so I've actually saved the entire starting platform, so every single time I build a new challenge, I can always start with the same base starting area. So now it's just a matter of figuring out what the next course is going to be and then how to rotate it. That I think is going to always be the challenging thing, because every different course is going to have a different center of mass, and being on a free-floating bearing controlled with thrusters, it's gonna have to be self-balancing when you're not pressing any buttons. Okay, so for challenge number 2, I'm thinking about stepping up a little bit more. I'm thinking about having it be 2 right angles. So you're gonna go straight, and you're gonna have to go over a right angle, and then over a right angle, and the hole is gonna be over here. So you're basically gonna have to turn it like 180 degrees. Okay, so this one I think is easy enough to envision where it needs to rotate around, so I'm actually going to start from the rotation point and build outwards from there, and we'll see how it goes. All right, let's get to it. Okay, we are ready for the test. We needed a lot of weight on this one to counteract all of that pretty much. So hopefully this is gonna work. So let's just go ahead and spawn it in. All right, looking good so far. So now number 2 is left, number 3 is right. So I actually have no idea how hard or easy this is gonna be. But the goal is to get it to go over this corner. Oh, we might need to up the strength of these thrusters here. And I'm also realizing that you're probably going to have to restart the challenge on these if you ever fail, just so that you can start from the starting point. Because the ball spawner is just not going to be in a good position. All right, come on. Oh, not quite. Okay, all right. Well, you know what? I'm just going to restart. Okay, so yeah, I think I may need more speed. Yep. All right, we're gonna have to up the thruster power and get more speed out of our tilting. So I'm gonna up it by 2 notches for every single thruster. All right, so here's 2 notches higher. It's a bit faster. One direction feels faster than the other, but we'll just experiment with it, see what happens. All right, so we go down, and then we turn. Oh boy! Oh, that's a lot faster. Okay, let's try that again. This is really fun. I actually like this concept a lot, and I'm glad it's working out that well, like physics-wise. Okay, there we go. Okay. And challenge complete. So yeah, not a difficult challenge at all. In fact, there's probably some really fun things you could do with this one. I'm sure that if you like go like that, or just have it go really, really fast at first, you could probably swing it all the way around if you time it just right, like that. Oh, look at that. That was a good one, wasn't it? I don't know how I feel about being able to do that on this one, but I kind of feel like maybe you should be able to. I don't know. I don't really see much of a way to really... Oh, that one should have been good. I don't really see much of a way to really prevent that from happening unless I just keep it at a slower a slower speed. Which I guess I could move everything down by 1. Let's see how it feels. Okay, so this is half speed, or the difference between the first speed and the speed that we were at, which apparently seems to be much, much slower. But that could be part of the difficulty with this. Ooh. Ooh, I like this better. I like this better. This speed feels a little bit more controlled. You can't go too fast to just overdo it, but you have to make sure that you're keeping up with the ball at the same time. I like the feel of this a lot. So this is max speed to the left. Timed it perfectly. And then if you don't time it enough, well, that side doesn't really matter as much because the ball catcher is just going to catch it anyway. All right, I'm liking this. So as you can imagine, we can come up with all kinds of really complex stop and go, tilting and not tilting. We can even probably do multiple ball things where you have to get one ball into a certain area, and once it gets to a certain orientation, it'll spawn in a second ball to continue on the track. Like, there's a lot of possibilities to do this. So if you like this concept and you want to see it taken even further, definitely hit the like button. Let me know down in the comments, and especially if you have any ideas on creative ways to use this concept and creative things that we could do with our tracks and things like that. Now, remember the limitations, though. We have to be able to move it around a bearing with thrusters. So it's going to be challenging. The more complex and irregularly shaped our tracks get, the more difficult it's going to be to balance the weights and keep it all centered so our thrusters will feel like a natural left and right rotation. Now, if you're a fan of this concept and building a series of challenges that gets increasingly more difficult, then definitely go check out the Golf Challenge playlist if you're not familiar with that yet, because that is basically this in golf form. So if you enjoyed watching, I hope I've earned your subscription. Anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye!